Well, today on Nation Window Cleaners Podcast, we're talking all about the slow season and how to survive it. I mean, it's coming up fast here, and every year we go through it, but here's some tips to really survive this year's slow season. So, if you're a window cleaner, or heck, any seasonal business, stay tuned to WCR Nation. What's up, everybody? Jersey here from windowcleaner.com, and you are here. What is up? If it's your first time here, have a look around. Lots of content, almost 9 years of content, actually. So go back, listen. Also, Spotify's recap is come on. So I would love to know how many hours or minutes you listen to WCR Nation. I have to say, Eduardo Vallejo is so far the winner at like 6,400 or 6,800 minutes. So anyway, what's up to you, by the way? Keaton Primo, how's it going, man? And Dan Diekman. You guys are just awesome. Those are just some random people that are picked that choose to order from me and make my life possible. So thank you for you guys to place your orders for me. And let's just dive into one of the things I just don't like talking about as much because, as many of you know, you get kind of a winter PTSD in a seasonal business. I mean, there's areas even in, the Californias and the Floridas. Florida's kind of a different situation where, like, if you're in a snowbird area, your winters are pretty great. That's kind of your busy season, right? But there's some people that just kind of work year round. They just don't have a busy season still in the winter. And that's the tough part, is not that we have winters. It's that we have this thing that goes really up and really down and really up and really down. We kind of have to figure out how to survive that. And without doing a clickbaity thing, the last kind of item that I have is really just genuinely what made me kind of survive and not hate winters. But anyway, we'll get to that. But the first thing I want to say is that if you're doing work in the rest of the year, you get to plan when jobs are done. Now, every time we talk about residential route or commercial, there's somebody out there who's like, I don't like route, or I don't like commercial, I only do residential, and that's cool. It's really hard if you have a company in, say, Wisconsin, to have a seasonal business that only does houses. There's so much more time that you're not doing anything because houses are not booking you typically in January, February, even March a lot of times. In Wisconsin, where I'm from originally, Wisconsin, that's where I had my company. We still had maybe 10, 20 houses a month. That's it. Right. It was very, very seldom. We had a lot of like reoccurring houses that we would do throughout the year that were every month. But it was very, very low. What you could do in this, now we're talking about route. Route's great. I love route. But what people tend to forget is that there's commercial stuff. Commercial's the middle building, right? It's not a storefront. It's not a house. It's that middle thing. It's done every 6 months, we'll say. Well, the really nice thing is you get to schedule when it's done. I mean, the nicest thing, the first time somebody needs it cleaned, sometimes they're like, well, we just need it now because okay, cool. Well, then we'll get you into our rotation. And my rotation is pre-spring, so late winter, and early winter. Let me rephrase that. So early winter or late winter are like the tail end, right? So it's like December. December is a good month because it's like, well, we're still kind of doing some houses. We're kind of trailing in. A lot of people kind of get to that Christmas market. It kind of tapers down. But if you have a commercial property and that property is every 6 months, guess what? You could do it in December. And now you just took a project, a big project, and filled some slower time where you get to schedule it, not houses where they schedule or when they need it or whatever. One thing that people kind of forget is that a 6-month rotation in that, hypothetically, is like December or say, January and July. which is also another slow time for us because it's pre-fall. It's so important for you to take those and fill in the gaps. I know so many companies that have a very good, diverse portfolio of jobs, right? They do houses, they do route, they do commercial, they do it all. But then they're like, well, I can't do this. This is my busy season technically for, houses, but I got all this commercial. What? Why? Unless they absolutely need it done then, and it's on your rotation if you're setting the pace, there should be no reason that you have to have your commercial stuff in the busiest time of year, because houses only come when it's busy, right? You can advertise and everything else to boost that up, but they come in certain seasons, spring being the busiest. So why do your commercial stuff in spring if you could do it pre-spring? And most of you have the jobs out there. You have the work that's there. You're just scheduling it wrong, in my humble opinion. And you can fix that. Super, super easy. Fill the gaps with the work that you can. The same thing with route. You have gaps, right? In slow time, it still gets filled. You move crews around, right? The big thing that people, and this is one piece that you'll see a lot, you've probably even said this, but it's, say there's a huge convention or one of these shows and you're like, oh, I'm too busy. I can't make it this year. We're just too busy. You do understand you're the one that makes a schedule, right? Or your staff makes the schedule. Like, what? How are you? You're not too busy. You go, I'd rather work than go to that show, which is cool. But you planned the work then. Like, it's a little confusing when sometimes people think that they're like, well, my business just does what my business does. And there's sometimes where everybody's trying to make everybody in the customer world happy, and I want to try. But at some point, especially when it's busy, you're like, hey, we're 4 weeks out. Oh, man, I needed it by Tuesday. There's a lot of you are like, we'll make that happen. And that's cool if that's what you want to do. But if you could do that, then you could also schedule stuff for when you want, right? That's fair. So that's a big one. I think so many people miss that. It's right in their face, right? But let's be honest. If you're in a very seasonal area, you're going to have to not lose some people, but you're going to have to put some people on seasonal unemployment, give them some options. You're going to have to do something with the staff, because that is really realistic in planning. A lot of times the biggest hurdle for people hiring is like, well, I don't want to hire somebody because we're going to be slow. Yeah, you're going to be slow. This is a seasonal job. That's very, very, understandable. You're finding people who understand this is a seasonal job. Now, not everybody. A lot of people want to work 40 hours all the time. They want to, like, winter, I want to work that. Well, your job now is to kind of go ahead and make that happen, in the long run. But realistically, as it kind of comes in, you're going, okay, like, let's sit everybody down in our meeting. Hopefully you're doing like weekly meetings, just going over things, but said, okay, we just want to know, you guys don't have to answer now. Just let me know if you want to stay on through winter or you want to do your unemployment. You get to pick and see what they say. You'll find it's a pretty good split. Well, now if I have only half the staff to worry about, it's a lot easier to schedule them. Now, they know they're not going to be still maybe in 40 hours, but I can move things around. I can get stuff done. I can have them doing other things. I know winter's coming every year, so I can plan for it, right? I know this time of year, we're talking about, okay, well, we're going to get you guys through, say, Christmas time, third week of December. And then from there, it's kind of slow. You guys, we're going to start the unemployment. We're going to do blah, 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 blah. And we're going to get you back as soon as possible. But you can decide who kind of goes in. And I do really like putting that kind of more on the employees themselves to kind of figure that out. Because if there's a complication, you're always the last one, right? If everybody's like, I want to take it, and you're like, well, we need somebody. So who are we going to have to keep on? But if you let them choose, you're going to find out that there are some people who are just genuinely okay with making unemployment through the winter. They just are. You're also going to kind of find who is just always hungry to work and doesn't want that. There's some people who just never, ever would want unemployment. They would rather get paid a little less because there's less hours. But now you're doing the juggling, right? If you have one employee, they can do 40 hours worth of work, technically, obviously a little bit more. But what if you only have, 10 employees? That's 400 hours of work a week. Well, if you don't have 400 hours and you only have, say, 200, you have to have half of those people be done. Now, if all of them say, I don't want that, then your job is then to do the rotation so that everybody gets equal hours, and they're going to go down in hours. And that's a seasonal business. A piece to hiring that's so hard is that so many people are like, dude, I can't hire. We just get slow in the winter. I don't want to hire right now. And this is even as soon as August, September. We need people. I don't want to hire because I'm just going to be slow. Yeah, you're always going to be slow. That's never going to change. You're going to basically shorten your slow season by doing these things right, but you're not going to not have a slow season. So if you hire in April or you hire in September, you're still going to have a slow season. So I don't understand the mindset. It's a very big catch up. But when you talk to people and they're like, hey, you want to be a window cleaner here in, say, Wisconsin? They know you're not cleaning windows all year round. You can talk to them about it. Talk to them throughout the thing. We're going to rack up these hours now, slow times now, we're banking, blah, blah, blah. On the banking side, banking hours, talk to your local, tax things. But some guys like to be paid all year round, and they may want to have holdings and things like that done. And if that's something that you could do, put them on salary or whatever, you could do that too. But it's very hard to predict how slow your slow season is and how long your slow season is. So one way to do that, but the staff themselves, when they're part of a window cleaning company, they understand that we're seasonal. They also understand, I hope, the fact that you are pushing everything you possibly can to get work. But it's still going to be slow, and they still have to kind of, give up some things. It's time. Most people, in fact, have probably, 60 to 100 people or whatever, how many people we've had over all the years. There's not been a time when somebody's like, what? You guys slow down? It's not guaranteed for, nobody knows that. Nobody thinks that. So it's easier to kind of wrap your brain around, but it's part of it. If you want to float payroll full 40 hours through the winter, that's awesome, but that's a whole bunch of things in planning. We'll get to that. But we're looking at costs, and employees are a big cost, but so is everything else. And I'll tell you right now, do not advertise in winter. Don't advertise. Let me rephrase that. Don't pay for advertising in winter. Now, in winter, you got nothing but time. So posting on Facebook and building that up, and you know how I love a marketing or a sales calendar, an advertising calendar. I like pre-planning email blasts and posts as much as you can. I like all that stuff. Do that. It's all free. It's just your time, which you have time. You don't have time when you're busy, right? So do all that stuff. Just don't pay for ads. The biggest problem that new businesses go in is they don't understand business. And I always give this analogy of, if it's 6 a.m. and I have a McRib. Even if I say, if you buy this McRib right now, you'll get it at half price. You're still like, no thanks, it's 6. Okay, you can buy it for 50 cents. Like, yeah, I don't want to. Like, it's not a price thing. It's that they don't want it. So why would you go spend ad money to show stuff to somebody that they want? Like, we're going to put this $100 million ad campaign to sell McRibs at 6 a.m. You'd be like, wait, what? That even if we sell 1,000 McRibs, it's a waste of money. Same thing in window cleaning. you need to, I hope you're listening to this, strike while the iron is hot. When it comes to advertising, you advertise with all the money you have in your budget when it's busy. You're like, well, I'm busy. Why would I? That's not how advertising works. You fill the schedule then. If it's dinner time and I put a McRib commercial out, McRib is back. You're going to buy a McRib even if it's not on sale. It's because it's the time. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, let's get that. Right? That's why you see food commercials there. That's why you see billboards on the side of the road right before the exit. That's just a big cheeseburger. It says next exit. It's to catch people right at the moment. Because that is the best ROI. Now, if there's a best of something, there's a worse of something. And paying for advertising is absurd. It does not get you more work. Like, if you paid $1,000 for advertising in spring, you may get $10,000 back. If you're doing something right, you get at least that, right? If you do that same $1,000 in winter, you may get one customer for $200. Why would you give, like, that would be like, hey, give me $1,000, I'll give you $200 back. You'd be like, no, that's stupid. But then there's so many people out there like, I gotta advertise, get good, I got a job in. What? You understood you took money out, spent it, wasted it to get some of the money back, right? Anyway, stop your paid ads. If you're already looking at cutting costs through the winter and everything else, don't do paid ads. I have a sad story. I have a lot of story. I talked to, well over 100 window cleaners a week. And a few years ago, I talked to this guy. He was like 22 or something. He just had a baby and he was getting into this industry. It was great. He was really kind of starting to do some stuff. And anyway, it was his first winter and he had not planned for it. Okay, get that. Unfortunately, I've been there, didn't quite plan right. And he messaged me, texted me. He's like, dude, I put all my eggs in the basket. I was like, huh? What? He goes, dude, I spent every dollar I had. It left me with like $23 in my checking account to do an EDDM run. I got everything. I got it all printed, expedited, sent to me, and I dropped it off at the post office yesterday, man. This is it. We're going to have and this was the middle of winter. The middle of winter. And it was too late. And I was like, why would you, what? And I called. And I'm like, dude. He said, yeah, this is great. It's, no one will buy. This is just not a good thing. Dude, you can't get it back now, but no, you can't. And I tried to explain things again. And he was one of those guys that just didn't listen. And it was fine. Like, dude, I hope absolutely this goes well. It didn't. He lost everything that he had. And he closed his business. I never talked to him again after that. And it was all because he decided to not pay attention to how advertising works and was like, but I'm slow, and if I advertise, I get work. That's not how it works. There's psychology in advertising. There's psychology in everything. Anyway, real quick, let me do a shameless plug because I haven't done it in the past couple weeks. I talked to Chris last week and just got to babbling, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, geez, it's like 30 minutes. Anyway, I'm a rep for windowcleaner.com and how I afford my free shirts that, as if you're watching the video in the winter, I love this zip up. It is a free WCR zip up that I got like years ago. Part of the joke, but the collar doesn't stay straight anymore. I just still love it. Anyway, let me put your orders in. It doesn't cost you anything extra to be absolutely awesome. Be one of the cool kids. Get the cool kid sticker because it's a limited edition only to people who buy from me. All you have to do is just click save this cart, shoot me a text, be like, yo, Jersey, it's in my cart. Big orders, small orders, it absolutely doesn't matter. Let me put your orders in. Literally, you text me instead of clicking go, and I could go. It doesn't cost you any extra. I make sure you get your free gift, make sure there's fitment issues, all of that stuff. That's what I do, and I get credit for it, and I can continue to live. And I like to live. It's kind of my hobby. It's like living. Also, if you haven't yet, I had somebody yesterday tell me that they didn't know that I own the American Window Cleaner magazine, but I do. American Window Cleaner magazine. It's AWC, mag.com. It's literally, if you haven't looked at the magazine, again, I do this, so many people listen, more people listen than watch, so I get that. But this is the magazine. The new magazine, where I've had it now for like 3-4 years. We did a revamp on everything. It is so good. It is so well put together. It's amazing. Now, mind you, I'm partial. I get that. But get the subscription. It's $69. That's like a half hour's worth of work for you. Get the subscription. Literally a magazine only for window cleaning that comes to you every month in the mail. awcmag.com. Go get a subscription. And of course, you've seen the sticker sheets. This is the best of sticker, actually, because it's in the December issue. I just realized this is the December issue, so you guys got a preview. There you go. People haven't even gotten it yet. Anyway, you get the subscription for the magazine, and you get the stickers every single month. So go do that. And also, I always talk about Jobber. Listen, I have genuinely not found a CRM that I liked until this year, 2025. I've been doing this show alone for 8 years, 9 years now, I forget. Almost 9 years. And I've never found a CRM until this year. I do demos all the time. I found Jobber. Jobber is freaking amazing. It really, really, really is absolutely everything that I would want in a CRM. So after doing a demo, I reached out to them and got a chance to partner with them anyway. So my link's in the bio of whatever you're watching or listening to, or you can just text me 862-312-2026. I'll send you a link. Get 20% off, which is fantastic. You could do free demos, all that other stuff. Literally, just do your research. Don't listen to me. Who cares what I say? Do your research. You're gonna find that that's absolutely the best program out there. It's so comprehensive. It does so much. Anyway, go look. Jobber is amazing. Anyway, wow, longest shameless plug ever. Anyway, back to it. So one other thing that I want you to think about doing when it comes to winter is understand the concept of route sales. Some of you don't do route. If you're never going to do route and you're just like, this guy's an idiot and I don't like route, cool. But if you do route, the best time you could possibly sell route is not a spring day, because guess what? Every other window cleaner is working fine. You know, because everybody gets into route, a lot of people, they're like, oh, every time I go to a job, they're like, I got somebody. Yeah, no kidding. Every job gets their windows cleaned. Like, duh. Like, you're not going in like, oh, it looks like a haunted house here. Yeah, we just don't have a window cleaner. They clean the windows themselves, even if they look like crap. So, of course, they're going to have somebody. So why not do it in the winter when you know that those other guys who kind of don't take business as serious as you, they're not even showing up. They're not even showing up. It's too cold. My hands hurt. It's supposed to snow tomorrow. They're not showing up. So guess what? You do. And go, hey, we're in the area. We're blah, blah. The route sales for a company is absolutely the best. 10 times in the winter. Even to the fact that when windows are done and there's slop and slush and everything else, just winter, they all look bad. It's colder, so it's harder to clean them and everything else. Route sales is absolutely so easy in the winter, and a lot of times people don't do that because they're like, well, yeah, I can sell a couple route jobs, but that only adds, like an hour's worth of. Yes, but are you looking at like what you're bringing in today? That's a job. You go, I have to go to work today, 9 to 5. But we have a company. We're building this business. We're looking at what can we do now so that next winter it's not like this, right? Route sales is absolutely that. But genuinely, here is the biggest tip. If I had to say, well, I'm only going to tell you one thing to survive the winter, it is absolutely this. And I'm going to tell you, planning for winter, it's too late to plan for this winter. I get it. But hear me out on this. If you go, man, I don't know, with this business, I'm like scared, man. How do I make my bills in the winter? Like, oh man, how do I, keep my guys happy in the winter? It's just, man, this is okay. So you have a concern, which is more or less just a question, right? How do I pay my bills in winter? How do I do this in winter, right? Whatever those pieces are, that is something that you can genuinely fix. And here's how you do it. Very, very simple. And I hope, really, really, really hope that every one of you, thousands and thousands of people who are listening to this, do this tip. Here it is. You take your month, which you can see if you've been in business, and go, okay, what did my expenses in, so we'll say December, January, and February, very slow. Okay. What did you spend in expenses, not labor, expenses? So like, do you have rent? Do you have insurance? Do you have payments on the trucks? Do you, not gas, right? Not anything that if the truck is moving, it uses, but just having the truck car payment, insurance for that, right? You have heat in the storage and garbage collection, all of your expenses for 3 months. Man, we're spending, I'm bad at math. We'll say $10,000 a month in expenses. Okay, guess what? Now, by December of next year, we're going to have $30,000 put aside in what we call the winter fund. What? How am I doing that? All you're doing is every week you go to the bank, or whatever, however many times you go to the bank, and you go, okay, well, every time I'm there, let's do the math. I'm going to do this real quick because I'm not good. Let's see, 30,000 divided by, what are we at, 12,9 equals divided by 4. So every week, you're going to put away $830. And you're like, wow, that's a lot of money. It is, but it's less money than 30,000. Now, here's how we do this. Even if you don't get to this the first year, okay, I totally get that. But what happens is as you put that away and you get to December and that 30,000 is sitting there, guess what? You will do some work December, January, and February. You're not going to use the $30,000. But if your pressures are winter, you have it in the bank ready to spend no matter what else happens because it's in this fund. And it's always refreshed. So if you go through winter and say it was a really harsh winter and maybe you use 10,000 of it, 12,000 of it, 15,000 of it, the next year, that's your new payment. You're putting it back in. So December of next year, you're back to 30,000. It is basically the way that you take all of your headaches, all of your worry, your entire 9 months of worry is all thinking about winter and putting it in there. Down to the point of, okay, I have a guy that he wants to work all year. I don't want to lose him. Okay, what's his salary for those 3 months? Put it in there. Now, whatever that dollar amount is, and even if it's $30,000 and you don't get there, you just keep putting it in so that the next year, in 2 years, you have that money saved. And then whatever you take out of that for winter, you just put back in the next year. You will get there and you'll keep it there. Only for the fact that it is just going to make you feel better. You're going to have the money set aside. You're going to be planned. You're not going to be panicking. Like if you go on the Facebook groups and everything else, people are panicking this time of year. They do every year. We're like, oh my gosh, what do you guys do in the winter to keep busy? If you would have planned, you'd be like, cool. If nothing happens, I pay my bills. And you're going to be still doing work every single day, maybe every week at least. After a few years of business, I don't think there's ever been, a week that I've not done something. And that brings more money into that. So you're not chipping away at the full 30. You're just having it there in case everything is. And guess what? Oh, man, I'm worried about winter. Oh, why are you worried about winter? You have the money set aside specifically and only for that. Oh, yeah. You're not worried about it anymore, right? Take a worry, which is really your body asking a question. Oh man, I don't want to get cancer. Okay, what would you do? Change some lifestyle stuff so that you can kind of go down that path. You go, well, I don't think I'm going to get cancer. I run, I do all this, blah, 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 blah. They're taking a question or a concern and they're answering it by making it not a question or concern. If you need $30,000 for your winter and you have $30,000 in an account called winter, what are you worried about? Nothing, right? You're not worried about winter. You're worried about something else that comes up. So planning for winter is the absolute best thing you can do. And here's the truth of the matter is that every episode that I do of Nation has a few thousand downloads, right? Listens, streams, all that stuff. I could be talking about this in March, April, May. Hey guys, let's remember to plan for winter. And everybody's like, dude, it's May. I don't need to plan for winter, man. I'm making 10 grand a week. What are you talking about? Right. But in winter, when it comes, you're not making that, right? So now is the time where you got to start planning that. And, here's the really kind of interesting thing. Like, everybody's diet always starts on Monday. The reset for the year is coming up in just a couple weeks. The first of the year was like, oh, I'm going to do this in the first of the year. It's not up to what you say. It's up to what you do. And if you really genuinely are, that is the best thing you can do to not be worried about winter. I know you can't do anything about that right this second, but you can do something about that for next year. And when we're talking about filling in the space, remember, we're shortening winter. So instead of 3 months, we got, say the first month is some commercial stuff, and the last month is kind of some commercial stuff or whatever. We're shrinking that. Right? If we do better advertising in our busy time, that pushes it out. And now we're still cleaning now. Instead of up to Thanksgiving, we're cleaning out to December. It shrinks your winter. In the numbers. If you have 10,000 customers that you do every year, you have a higher likelihood of doing quite a few of them monthly. If you have 2 customers, it's a high probability one of the 2 customers is not going to have it monthly, right? So you're shrinking those seasons. That's the overall goal. It is the long-term play. But I hope these things kind of helped you make a decision of how to survive winter. But before you do, I would like to survive winter. Shameless plug number 2. Let me put your orders in, please. Big orders, little orders, literally just doesn't matter. Every order, just text me 862-312-2026. If you text me, it locks you in on prices too. So people are always like, oh man, the sale ended, so I had to put the order in at 2 a.m. We don't ship anything at 2 a.m. So if I place the order in the morning, it ships the exact same time if you did at 2, and you still get the thing. If you text me and be like, yo, Jersey, it's in my cart. Or, hey, I need this, and you text me on a Saturday at 2 in the morning, even if it's not placed until Monday, you still get the sale. You still get the same shipping times. You still get everything the same. So let me know. Put that in. I want to be your guy. Anyway, long show. I apologize. But go out there and, in the first place, hopefully survive winter. But more importantly, go out there and be epic.